Glennis, it's so fun to be with you on this lively conversation. We spent a little bit of yesterday preparing and thinking about how we could spend this session really educating the audience. And I wonder if just to kick us off, if you'd be kind enough to share a little bit about your background.
Hi, thank you, Susan. So I am currently the director of New York City's largest incubator in life science space. We're about 50,000 square feet located in Hudson Square, New York, and we primarily focus on therapeutic and also computational drug discovery efforts, as well as sustainability. But prior to this, interestingly enough, I was a strategy consultant in the realm of innovation, translation, and acquisition. And a lot of that work was focused on enhancing and developing digital health solution algorithms for disease interceptions, and also developing and advancing device design and development specifically to cater to the US market. And so quite a few clients from abroad looking to retrofit their existing platforms for the US market.
Amazing.
I should also add, I'm a recovering founder. So drug discovery platform many years ago, many moons ago. And I also, prior to that, come out of Columbia Tech Ventures office and Columbia Neurobiology graduate program. So quite a vast landscape of experience that has brought me to this moment today, advocating on behalf of early stage innovators.
Wonderful. Well, we were talking a little bit about the breadth of what HITLAB can offer this community in terms of support. So I, similarly to you, have been the recipient of HITLAB and Stan's incredible generosity in helping to build businesses. And I think you know I volunteer as the director of the Women's Health Tech Initiative. And today we're really going to talk about the Breakthrough Alliance and how it can help our community, help entrepreneurs, help them build their businesses. So how did you get involved with the board? And can you tell us also a little bit more about the Breakthrough Alliance?
Yeah, so my involvement with the board actually came about with knowing Sam through the ecosystem, but my networking with him really took a very strong turn after we met at an investor meeting in Westchester, of all places. And through there, in conversations I had with him, that initial through that conversation, I realized that there was a significant opportunity for me to get back into the world of digital health and device development and use what I've learned both from the therapeutic side and the market landscaping in healthcare to help and foster community. Now, with that said, the Breakthrough Alliance has been focused on creating community and creating resources for early and mid-stage companies that ordinarily would not have access to such a vast and impactful network. And I think that's where the value truly lies, and that's where my passion and my support primarily comes from and is driven by.
And what kind of impact do you think the Breakthrough Alliance can have on our healthcare community? And maybe could you discuss some of the initiatives and partnerships?
I am sorry, not hearing you.
Oh,
okay, I've got you now. Sorry.
Okay, great. Sorry. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the impact the Breakthrough Alliance Board is having on kind of local and global healthcare communities, and speak a little bit about the initiatives and partnerships.
Yeah, I think it's no accident that HITLAB's genesis goes through government's economic development efforts. So one of the founding sponsors of HITLAB is actually New York City Economic Development Council, which is also a sponsor of the incubator that I'm currently managing. The examples of impact, I think, comes anecdotally, and I'm sure Stan and the HITLAB team can speak about the metrics and the data in terms of impact. But from my perspective, what I see are founders and the impact on the founders who refine their strategies, who get access to capital, who get studies executed at relatively little to no cost to de-risk their ventures. And that is an absolutely incredible resource in order to receive additional funding, increase the valuation for your existing investors, and pave a way, a more straightforward path to success. And I think ultimately that's what we're trying to do here.
That's terrific. And you do something similar in your day job with Biolabs. Could you talk a little bit about what you're doing there to accelerate growth?
Yeah, so primarily the focus is network, as with the Breakthrough Alliance, expanding networks to strategic multinationals, expanding network through other founders or people who are endeavoring in the same areas or similar areas, and creating knowledge brokerage across a vast array of boundaries, regulatory, executional, expertise, as well as strategic market expertise. And knowing that landscape has been incredibly helpful for people to navigate last year, which had a significant capital downturn, and also to identify white spaces in which to hop into. So we provide executional resources primarily. So that's where biolabs shine. We have millions of dollars of lab equipment and resources. But I think what differentiates us is a network. We're part of a global set of incubators that are 15 incubators strong in Europe and the US. And so our founders have access to hundreds of other founders and their networks. And so you can just think of the exponential reach that can give anyone who's starting an enterprise or needs to gain resources.
That's amazing, Glennis. And how would you suggest that founders get involved in either the Breakthrough Alliance or Biolabs? What's the best way to get in contact?
Well, with the Breakthrough Alliance, there is, I would say, become a member. I think there are many different levels and opportunities. Become a member, join the networking events where you get to meet other founders and people that are part of the board. I would say just go through the website and take advantage of the many, many resources that are available there. Lots of case studies to help you develop your own strategies. In terms of biolabs, anyone can go to biolabs.io and look at the New York location. That is a most straightforward way of getting in touch with us. You can try reaching out to me, but my inbox, honestly, is so backlogged.
I'm sure. Well, listen, I know we just have a minute or two left. You and I had a great conversation about personalized medicine yesterday. So tying back to some of the earlier conversations today, I'd love just to hear from you again on the trends you're seeing and what you're most excited about.
Yeah, so as there's more data, there's an opportunity for personalization, and the issue becomes how do we make that economically viable, scalable? And I see that happening in stages or stepwise. So fundamentally, we're not going to get to the point in the next few years where it's individualized or personalized to an individual, but it may be personalized to a segment. And I think that's what is tremendously powerful, because we know, I'm a biologist, and pretty much anyone who is in the field of life science knows that there are significant differences in the underlying biology that we all possess, either through gender, through economic stratospheres, and also through lifestyle as well, and ethnicity, etc. And so if we can actually segment along those lines with the data that we have, we can start identifying biomarkers, identifying patterns of success and failure within our healthcare system, and also identifying unique therapies that caters to each of those segments, getting us closer to the dream of personalization. And so I see that with the data coming, there's no going back. Hopefully there's no going back. For example, women's and men's health, they're very different needs. You and I are both, I'm sure, keenly aware. And so those needs aren't less or more important, but they're just different. And I think creating a healthcare system that doesn't necessarily prioritize the needs of a variety of different people, but actually make sure they're addressed or have some momentum towards addressing them is important.
Beautifully said, Glennis. And as I turn it back to Stan, just one quick question, your favorite piece of advice for a founder?
Network, just network. I know it's intimidating. Not all of us are built to take that leap and reach out a hand to someone you do not know, but it may not pay immediately, but I promise you that is what distinguishes success and failure based on my experience. And I think the Breakthrough Alliance provides a wonderful foundational platform for you to do that.